Welcome to Revelation Unraveled. I'm your host, William Tapley, also known as the Third Eagle of the Apocalypse and the co-prophet of the end times. This week has been one of the most amazing times for the fulfillment of Bible prophecy that I have ever seen. First of all, we had North Korea attacking South Korea. That was the beginning of World War III, the first shot, so to speak. But also, we had the Pope okaying some forms of condoms for male prostitutes. Believe it or not, these two events are related. The countdown for Armageddon has begun. And more importantly, the countdown for the Abomination of Desolation. Let's take a look at the Tribulation Timeline and how these events are coming into focus. Now on the chart behind me is the Tribulation time frame. It begins with World War III, extends through the Abomination of Desolation at the midpoint of the Tribulation, and ends with Armageddon. Now, as we know from a previous video of mine, Armageddon occurs between October 13th and November 29th of the year 2017. And 7 years before that is World War III. And as we know from events this week, World War III began on November 23rd. With World War III beginning on November 23rd, I'm not surprised because that is an evil number. I have been looking for such an evil number. 11, of course, is a homosexual number, as I have explained in other videos. 23 is an evil number also, because 2 is placed before 3. 2 signifies man, 3 signifies God. And 2/3 equals the decimal 0.666. And as we know, 666 is the most evil number in the Bible. With World War III beginning November 23rd, we are entering the first half of the tribulation period, which extends for 42 months or 1,260 days. Now the length of time of the first half of the tribulation, that is 1,260 days or 42 months, that is not a symbolic number. In apocalyptic literature, you always look at the symbolic interpretation first. For example, we know that when Martin Luther posted his 95 Theses, he started the 5-month plague of locusts. But those 5 months symbolize 5 centuries. But the 1,260 days does not indicate anything other than days. I know some of the false prophets say it equals 1,260 years. But St. John gives us 2 dates to corroborate each other. In other words, 1,260 days equals 42 months. And there is no other combination that can work. 1,260 days must be days. 42 must be months for them to equal each other. Now this holy city in Revelation 11:2, which is trod underfoot for 42 months, does not refer to Jerusalem. This refers to Rome and the Vatican City. This treading underfoot by the Gentiles has begun with Pope Benedict saying that condoms are okay in certain circumstances. It's unbelievable that Pope Benedict would okay the use of condoms. He is certainly not doing what Jesus would have done. Jesus told the woman caught in adultery, "Go your way and sin no more." Even Martin Luther opposed contraception. Let's look at what he said. And Martin Luther writes, "Therefore Onan, unwilling to perform this obligation, spilled his seed." Now Luther is writing about Genesis 38. That was a sin far greater than adultery or incest, and it provoked God to such fierce wrath that he destroyed him immediately. And this is taken from Luther's commentary on Genesis. Now this prophecy that the holy city of Rome would be trod underfoot by 42 months is also found in the prophecy of Mary at La Salette to the shepherd children, where she said that Rome would lose the faith and become the seat of the Antichrist. What does this mean to you Catholics? This means that you, as the woman, as the remnant Catholic Church, must flee for 1,260 days. That is the first half of the tribulation. And you must flee from your church. you must find out soon. Does your pastor believe that Pope Benedict went too far? Or does your pastor believe that Pope Benedict went not far enough? This is how you will determine where and when that you will flee from your own Catholic Church. Now, the culmination of the first half of the tribulation, the 42 months or 1260 days, will be when the abomination of desolation is set up by the Antichrist. Now, when you add 1260 days, that is 42 months, to the date we have just understood as the beginning of World War III, November 23rd, you come up with the date for the abomination of desolation. For Jesus, this is far more important than World War III. He only gives a few mentions to World War III and wars and rumors of war. But the abomination of desolation, Jesus specifically mentions. He tells us to look at Daniel, because Daniel refers to the abomination of desolation 4 times. And now, with the date of November 23rd, we can pinpoint the abomination of desolation, and it will occur in 2014. Now, when you add exactly 1260 days, or 42 months, to the date for the start of World War III, that is November 23rd, 2010, you come up with a very interesting date of April 13th, 2014. Now, why is this interesting? Because this is Palm Sunday. But it's also an unusual Palm Sunday because it is celebrated in both the Orthodox Church and in Christian churches. Now, this is a rare occurrence because usually the two churches celebrate Palm Sunday on different days. Now, wouldn't it make sense for the Antichrist to set up his abomination of desolation on the same day that Jesus rode triumphantly into the city of Jerusalem? Now, the second half of the tribulation period is equally important for you Catholics. You will have to fly to your place of protection in the desert away from the Antichrist, where you will be protected by the 2 wings of a great eagle. Those 2 wings are Mary's rosary and Mary's scapular. Now, Protestants, remember, will be raptured into heaven. You will not have to face these great tribulations. Now, the second half of the tribulation is the reign of the Antichrist, as we find in Daniel described as 3.5 times, and in the book of Revelation as 42 months. During this same time period, the woman flies to the desert for 3.5 times. This woman is the remnant Catholic Church. In the first half of the tribulation, they flee from their organized church, which has apostatized. And this is also found in Daniel, where the holy people, again, the remnant Catholics, scatter for 3.5 times. That is the second half of the tribulation period. Following North Korea's attack on South Korea, the Drudge Report gave us a very interesting headline. They said, "It begins." I am sure they understand, as do most of us, that that was the warning shot for World War III. And by the way, I find the Drudge Report very interesting because they keep us up on events that the government will not tell us about. For example, these airport scanners. Those scanners are a precursor to the mark of the beast. The mark of the beast will be much more serious, but the consequences are the same. And that is to take away our individual privacy and our individual rights. With the mark of the beast, we will be slaves to the system. In conclusion, we see this week that the events of Bible prophecy are accelerating. They are moving faster and faster. Very soon, I think we will see the return of Enoch and Elijah. I believe Pope Benedict will either apostatize completely, or he will resign, or he will be assassinated. Nor have we seen yet the Whore of Babylon being burned in 1 hour. In other words, we have not seen nuclear destruction come to the United States. Now, that was predicted just last week when China launched that ballistic missile off the coast of California. It's really surprising that our Pentagon cannot tell the difference between a ballistic missile and an airplane. But of course they can tell. They just didn't want us to know. And if you would like more information or a free copy of my book, Revelation Unraveled, simply write to the address you see on your screen.